We all want to create high-performing teams, and there's one type of person that's in the back that's the glue for the whole rest of the team. While they're not always visible, they are crucial for lifting everybody else up. Let's talk more about the supportive collaborator now.
Welcome to Leadership Mindset 2.0. Practical neuroscience and psychology to transform you from a tactical doer into a strategic leader. Here is your host, former social entrepreneur of the year and coach to some of the world's top executives, R. Michael Anderson.
Hello, leaders. Michael here, and I'm going to talk about supportive collaborators. And if you haven't already, you can go to rmichaelanderson.com/leadership quiz. That's all one word if you don't know your leadership type. And the last 3 times we talked about people's leadership types. We talked about dominant commanders, visionary influencers, logical creators, and now we're going to talk about supportive collaborators. So the 4 types. And then next week, we'll talk about how they all interact together. So that's really where the power comes from. And again, even if that's not your type, you want to understand all the different types so you know how to communicate with each of the different people. The supportive collaborators are driven by harmony and driven by peace and driven by a team working together in that harmony. So supportive collaborators are not as common in leadership positions as dominant commanders and visionary influencers. However, they often are promoted because they're really good. They really love doing a good job. They're really well thought of. They're really respected by members of the team. They're very steady, stable, and predictable. Very even-tempered, friendly. They're the people that everybody goes to talk to, and they're great listeners. So they have that empathy. They're really trustworthy. Supportive collaborators are great about that humbleness, about really empowering the team. So we often find supportive collaborators are the glue that holds the team together. And so when they reach leadership, that may not be the most comfortable thing for them because then they have to step forward and then they have to take responsibility. And then they have to do things like hold people accountable because supportive collaborators love harmony so much. They don't necessarily like the difficult conversations. They shy away from that. They shy away from being the center of attention, which as a leader, you need to do. Supportive collaborators normally are a bit soft-spoken. They are a little bit introverted. They love relationships though. They love talking. They love listening. Love when people are happy. They love happiness when the team is happy. They're happy when everybody in the team is happy. They're great listeners. They really work well together. The funny thing is the supportive collaborators are supporting like is supporting a mission or a boss or somebody else, then they will be assertive. But if they don't have that, and maybe they're managing their own team and they need to be assertive to somebody in their team, that's really where their area for growth is. They work great with other people. They are not comfortable with aggressive or hostile people. That's why when we do next session about how people interact with people, they can work great with a dominant commander, but if they don't understand a dominant commander doesn't understand them, it can be a little bit difficult. They don't really like really competitive situations, and they really need to trust their leader. So the issue supportive collaborators run into, again, is conflict, holding people accountable when people aren't stepping up, having that difficult conversation. They also don't necessarily like challenging other people, about really putting themselves out there and challenging the other people. So that's really where supportive collaborators need to grow. They also don't necessarily like change because they like that harmony. So adapting to change, making difficult decisions quickly are all things that they're going to be uncomfortable for. So as a supportive collaborator, that's what you need to work on. And so that's why really a fast-moving company or a lot of change brings them a lot of stress and anxiety. And also with a supportive collaborator, you need to learn to market yourself and put yourself forward. That's very uncomfortable. That's very unnatural for a supportive collaborator. But part of being in a business is promoting yourself and talking about yourself sometimes and saying, you know what, I do a good job at these things and standing up for yourselves. So that's really what supportive collaborators need to work on. But when you're dealing with supportive collaborators, if you want to get them on board with something or sell them something, et cetera, whether it's internally or whatever it is, With supportive collaborators, you need to make them understand that everybody else is going to be happy with this. So if you say, hey, supportive collaborator, I got this idea, and Mary is going to be fine with it, Frank's going to be fine with it, everybody in the team's life is going to be better. And you need to address every single person, because if you have a 10-person team and you're like 9 people's lives will be better, but this one person won't, supportive collaborator, so much empathy and compassion that they'll be worried about the one person that you didn't address.
So that's a supportive collaborator, driven by harmony, by the team being okay. At their best, they're the most trusted, steady, reliable people you will ever work with. At their worst, they avoid the hard conversation, shy away from the spotlight, and quietly let their own needs and ideas go unheard. So your challenge, dear leader, are you the supportive collaborator? If you are, how can you develop your boldness? What conversations are you running away from? Who are you intimidated by? It's time to get over them. If you really want to help other people, you need to step into your leadership. You can change, I promise you. If you have a supportive collaborator in your life, you might not even think of this person because this person's always nice and they're always there for you. But sometimes they can get lost. Make sure that you honor this person, keep this person on your side. They want to help you, so let them help you. And they are really, really helpful, but they're working in the background. Just keep that in mind and help them facilitating everybody else.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
That's it for today's episode, but I have one more question for you. Do you have an upcoming event that could benefit from a Leadership Mindset 2.0 keynote or facilitation? One of my favorite things to do is speak and work with groups at events and leadership meetings. If you want to learn more about my speaking, go to rmichaelanderson.com/speaking, where you can see me on stage and inquire about bringing me in for your event. Then we can both meet in person, and your team can get empowered with the latest mindset tools and strategies.